The At Home Show.
Live from the Green Room Studios, from the spacious property of Bates Nursery and Garden Center, 3810 Whites Creek Pike, it's the At Home Show with Josh Cary and David Bates.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. It is the At Home Show. I am Josh Cary.
And I'm David Bates.
And it's a brisk morning here from the Green Room Studios, but we're surrounded by tropical plants, so we're going to bring the vibe that we're going to go tropical, and everything's going to be warm, even though it's really, really cold outside, David.
Really wishful thinking this morning, Josh, and the tropicals do indeed help to add a degree of warmth to this otherwise frigid morning. You see on the big board there, here at Bates Nursery Station, live from the Green Room, 12 degrees here. Frigid beginning this morning, but we have an encouraging forecast as we look out ahead. We've got sunshine on both ends of the 10-day and rain in the middle. Today we're going to have a high of 37 degrees and sunshine. You're going to have a hard time even finding a cloud today. It's going to be really sunny, and we're going to need all that sun to warm it up. And things after today really start to moderate quite a bit. 51 Sunday, 26 for the low. Monday, 53, 37 for the low. And Tuesday, 62. Gosh, that feels balmy at this point. 48 with mostly cloudy conditions. And then by Wednesday, we're looking at substantial rain. I anticipate there being some flash flood watches put out as a result of that. Could be 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches. You know, it's far enough away where you really can't tell exactly how much, but they are predicting it. And then, of course, Thursday on the aftermath of the rain, I see a snowflake in the forecast.
Don't even talk
hopefully
about
that's
it.
just a snowflake.
It looks like a rain flake to me.
Like yesterday afternoon, it was a little flaky, but not too much. 50 degrees on Thursday, 24 for the overnight low, and then we go back to sunshine again and cooler conditions. So right now, it would appear we're going to have a high of about 42, but it's still going to be cold next weekend again, 20 degrees by this time next week. But again, currently, it's 12 degrees here in the Music City.
All righty, folks, we're here for you. I mean, interact with us. Go out to YouTube, like the page, and subscribe to the page.
At least
Get out
act
there.
like you like it.
Well, I mean, what would be better than to throw the at-home show with Josh Cary and David Bates, and a cast of thousands, I might add. We'll have to introduce our additional cast members here in just a moment. But alive on your living room television. Oh, my goodness. Sit there with your coffee. Don't have to look at your phone. You can look at it on the 84-inch screen like we have here in the Green Room. Hey, be great. David, who else do we have inside the studio?
Well, I am
to your right, immediately.
Straight across the way. Well, I've got Tyler, of course, over there. And good morning, Tyler.
Good morning, David. How you doing?
He's the guy actually that pulls this ragtag bunch together, and we appreciate that every Saturday morning. And across the way, we've got Cary Gant and Austin Owen. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Welcome to have you in. And, of course, you can decidedly see that Cary's influences, the Caroline effect, with all the tropicals in studio this morning. We've got a lot of that going on, so we're going to be talking about tropicals and whatever else is on your mind. Remind everyone that we're pretty easy to reach. You can get out there and go out to either our Facebook page or Instagram, and you can do that either on the At Home Show pages or on the Bates Nursery pages. And Josh has got our Facebook page for the At Home Show. Caroline pretty much takes care of everything else. So, we don't want Josh to have to deal with but one. Josh and I are
multitasking is not a great thing.
Well, we're the elder cast members. I'm the eldest, and you're
by far.
2, Josh. You're not that far behind. Everyone else is like about a 20 or to 30-year lag elsewhere. But anyway, we got some sharp minds here. Yours and mine may not be two of them anymore, Josh. But anyway, we're glad to have everyone out this morning and talking about getting through January. We're about got it done. It's almost in the books, and as we roll into the early part of next week, February will arrive, and that gives us hope for spring in the not too distant future. We can start thinking in terms of only a very few weeks, and the weather can change quickly as we get into this time of year. So, Caroline, do we have questions in the queue?
Yes, we do. Are you ready for one?
We are.
Okay.
Certainly.
Give
We'll
me a
see if
moment.
we're
Let
ready.
me pull it up. Here we go while Tyler zooms in on me. Thank you.
Nice scrolling.
And we're almost there. Here we are. Let's see. Our first question is, are there dwarf varieties of Distillium?
Are there dwarf
That's an Austin question. Take it away, buddy.
That is an Austin question. There's a lot of Distillium out there, okay? Most of them do get big, I will say that, especially, there's some upright forms, there's some wide-growing forms, but there are some dwarf varieties. Now, dwarf is relative in that world. You can still expect, a 3 to 4 foot tall shrub if you don't do any cutting on it. There's one called Swing Low that is the most dwarf that I know of, and it goes a little bit more wide than it does tall, but it's got this littler leaf on it. It's a cute little shrub, and it's a good alternative to laurel if you don't want to use laurels anymore. It's got kind of a broad leaf, a little bit shiny, and it's a good little plant. Now, I do know Distillium sometimes over the wintertime can suffer a little top burn. I will say that. It gets a little chilly on top, especially if it's got any new growth on the top part of the shrub. In the early spring, you want to just prune that back a little bit, and you'll see a reflush to a really nice, tidy little shrub. So, yes.
Now, for all the people who are going, what is a Distillium?
A Distillium is
whether it's a dwarf or upright, and you did kind of give a little hint out there, talking about it being a really good substitute for using a laurel. And laurels, as we know, they're vigorous growers, but they're not without their issues. They have this pathogen known as shot hole fungus that can really make them look terrible. And that's especially bad in a overhead irrigation environment where the splatter of water on the foliage tends to spread that disease around. But Distillium doesn't have that issue, but as you mentioned, it's not quite as winter hardy, so you're having some tip burn. It's going to be probably pretty normal this year, particularly since we've had some nights like this morning in the lower teens range at least.
Yeah. And Distillium, just I guess so it's a woody evergreen shrub that like I said and David said, it looks a lot like laurel. It's got a little bit of a smaller leaf. It's not quite as glossy as laurel. It's not, in my experience, it's not as liked as laurel is. Laurel's got a really shiny leaf, and it's really almost got a tropical feel to it on an evergreen shrub, and it makes a really good hedge. Distillium is very similar, but it's a little bit less glossy, but like we said, it does not suffer from that pathogen, that shot hole pathogen that laurels do. So it's a good alternative, and yes, there is a dwarf variety to it. So do know that we even suffered a little bit of damage on some of our Distillium, and we even have them protected in our greenhouse.
Wow.
So it can happen. Just get ready for that. You're going to see it. But other than that, it's a good shrub. It's a fairly little bit slower grower than laurel, but another good one to hedge with.
Very good.
Lovely.
Don't hedge your bets. Hedge with Distillium.
All right. Good morning, Miss Alita. We see you out there. And Jamie's watching us from Greensboro, North Carolina. Welcome in. Hope you enjoyed the show. All right. Do we have anything else, Caroline?
We do. We have 4 more questions.
Okay.
So our next one is, how do you choose plants for built-in planters in front of house? Everything has died. And they also put a sad face. So seems like they're a little bit upset about that.
Got to watch those built-ins, though. I mean, you can't move them. They're all built in. You just maybe there's too much sun. I don't know.
Not too much. I wouldn't think too much sun. I would think a drainage issue may be the problem. I don't know if you've got proper drainage down below the boxes you're using. But the first step is to come out here and talk with us and let us see what you've got. Let us talk about what kind of soil you're using in those pots. Essentially, they're big pots. What kind of drainage you've got, and then your sun exposure, and then what we can put in there to fill it that's going to be, that's going to live. We want something to live in there. So we need to know kind of some more, a little bit more detail on that, and then we can really best help you find the plants that are going to live in that scenario. And we don't death anymore. So, like I said, first step, come out and see us. Let's talk.
And really, the soil is really, really important.
And one of the things that may be a factor is that they could simply be dormant. We don't know what's in there. It could be perennials that have simply
Gone to sleep,
laid their heads down for the winter and haven't come back up yet. So it's difficult to discern what may appear to be death may in fact be dormancy, and doesn't mean they're dead at all. But that will be revealed soon enough, simply because that the warmer temperatures, believe it or not, are going to return. They do every year, and we're going to start seeing what has survived and what may have had some damage, and what actions to take next.
Caroline, answer a silly question for an old guy about Instagram.
Okay.
Can they post photographs on Instagram for us to view?
They can send them to us.
Send them to
The way that we do our Q&A on Instagram for Saturday mornings is I put up a question sticker, their question and the response.
So-
and then they can send additional images, or if they have a longer question, they can send it as a message.
There you go. Okay, so if you
That helps a bunch.
us being able to see is, and that's the it's worth 1,000,000 words. A picture is. I don't think it's worth 1,000 with inflation. So it's got to be a little bit more than that.
But there's the answer to your question.
Don't look at me
Josh.
like that, David. Don't look at me like that.
I'll look at you any way I want to look at you.
Don't you look at me like that. Okay, it's all good. Hey, we're here for you, folks. So interact.
Ignore you.
And we've got a lot of stuff to get to this morning, but the studio looks fantastic with all the tropicals. Why don't we take a small tour and see what we've got going on already this morning?
No, I think that's an excellent idea.
Okay.
Where are we starting?
Over there.
Over here?
Over there.
All right,
Over
come
here.
on over.
Over there.
Bring
over
it
here.
over, Tyler.
I'm coming.
And
Yeah.
Come on,
there it is.
Oh, yay. Okay.
All right, so to my left, this large plant is a Song of India Dracaena. It's one of my favorite Dracaena. It's a smaller, more compact grower. The stem isn't quite as big as some of the larger varieties. And as you can see, it's got this nice little yellow outline on the leaf and dark green inside. So it really, pops and shines. And one nice thing about Dracaena is that they're pretty versatile in your home. If you've got low light or high light, they can adapt. So if you're new to houseplants and you're not really sure what your lighting situation is like, it's always a great plant to go with. They also don't like to be watered that much. So if you're an underwaterer like I am, it's a great option. Super hard to kill unless you overwater it. So yeah, that's the biggest houseplant we have on this side today. And then in front, we've got some rabbit foot ferns. Austin's going to bring it up
Hence
so we
the
can
name
show
rabbit
it off.
foot.
Yeah, some people get really creeped out by these. I think they're really cool. I actually have a very large one at home in a hanging basket, and these little arms are just growing around the basket.
They're coming from everywhere.
They're coming from everywhere.
Wow.
And then the little fern leaves kind of grow out of those arms. So as those arms grow out, you'll get more leaves. And yeah, it's really fun and exciting and
They
a
can
little
get
bit
big.
spooky.
Does
Yeah.
it roll out the ferny carpet? Is that basically what it does?
Absolutely, Tyler. It rolls out the ferny carpet. Great,
I guess.
great little question there. And then down
Just
in front,
commenting.
we have Fitonia, also called nerve plant. Also a great beginner plant. These are the type of plants that let you know when they need watering. So they will, if you're not sure, you can kind of let them droop. And then as soon as
You've
you
got
water
a
them, they
lot of
flush
Fitonia
back
talking
out.
about those.
Yes. I'm going to lift this one up so you can see the inside. Tyler, if you want to take a little zoom in, and you can kind of see why they call it nerve plant. The dark green, and then they have like the white veins on the leaves. They also come in pink and red.
Wow.
The pink one is my favorite. She's really electric looking. She's a little bit sassy. Yeah, they're great. They like, indirect light. They do great in like an east facing window or just, direct morning sun, but probably not any afternoon sun. And this lovely lady sitting right here in front, Stromanthe. So we've got some white, some pink, and some green. There we go. Austin's going to show her off.
Look at the backside. That's
Showing the
key.
backside there, those roots coming out of the bottom. So she might be about ready to be repotted. So maybe you can come here to Bates Nursery today and take her home.
The pink backside.
Give
is
us that
Oh,
name
he was
again.
showing off the leaves. I was like, thanks, Austin.
I just saw that little corkscrew root at the bottom.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
the
let's
backside.
give
pink
us that
leaves.
name again, Caroline, because you said
Stromanthe,
it.
also called Trio Star.
Stromanthe.
So it's got pink, kind of reddish underside on the leaves, which shows through as light pink on the top. in the parts that are white. So when it gets hit by sun, it's absolutely gorgeous. And they get pretty large. We had some in the garden center that were probably about
We've got
2.5
some more
feet
over here
tall.
on our side that with the lights are shining through them. I mean,
guys
they're
do.
translucent and they're gorgeous. They're absolutely.
They're one of my favorites, and they're fairly easy to care for as far as, they're kind of lumped into like the Maranta prayer plant Calothea family.
Of course.
Those can be dangerous. They really like high humidity. They get a little bit crispy, but I find that this is a little bit easier than the other ones.
Good
And
bathroom plant, huh?
Great bathroom plant. I actually have all mine in my laundry room because my dryer, Josh is probably going to judge me for this, isn't completely connected to vent outside. So
Just makes it dusty. It
we
doesn't
get a
bother
lot
me.
of dust,
Yeah.
but we also get a lot of humidity and warmth in that room. So my plants that love high humidity are really happy, and I don't have to run a humidifier. So
Actually, that's kind of similar to the proving grounds, the way that things have to work out
Now,
there too as well.
we'll take a divergent path for just a moment, Caroline. If you have concerns about that, there are lint collectors that
Yes,
are
absolutely.
essentially a down tube that goes through a water tank, and so you still get the benefits of the heat and the moisture, but it captures all the lint. So you don't have to have it vented outside. You can have it vented inside and just capture the lint, because this time of year, after all, when we're looking for ways usually to add humidity. So that's a way you can actually put more humidity into it, but eliminate all of the lint that might get into the air.
yeah, it does get all over my leaves. So we actually, my husband
And in your
looked into
lungs,
that.
dear. So, I mean, that's another thing that you need to
Yeah,
consider. So,
I know. We
but
looked into that 4 years ago. We just haven't done
put it
yet.
into a box.
Yeah.
There are different kinds of collectors as well. Now, but that is, that they're just gorgeous. Now, but I mean, a bathroom, folks don't think about having plants in the bathroom, but that's a really cool idea.
Bathroom windows. If you
Yeah.
have bathroom windows, get those high humidity plants, and they'll be happy over the winter.
With the open floor plans that are popular too, I'm seeing there's been a little bit of a resurgence towards skylights, and skylights would be gorgeous in your bathroom as well.
I'm not a huge fan of the open bathroom floor plans, though. Those are just not comfortable with
David,
that.
they come in Texas size now. Those bathrooms.
Oh, is that right?
Oh yeah. I mean, you got at least Oklahoma. I mean, they're huge, and then you have to have the front, back, and sides, and walk-in closets that are bigger than apartments that I've had. I mean, it's a real trend. Right out, have your laundry room right next to your bathroom, your master bathroom, where you have your master closet, so you can take your clothes straight from the dryer and hang them up on the multiple cords and stuff that are available now. Hee-haw.
There you go.
Wow.
And then
I covet a walk-in closet like that. So
Putting
Oh,
the
I do
home in the
too.
at-home show, Josh Cary.
There it is. There's one more plant I did want to talk about over here, which are the Hellebores, which we got in at Bates
Right.
Nursery. We got 500 in.
you only got
think
500?
We
Only.
only
Yeah.
500. I think they came in on Thursday. They are gorgeous, as you can see. Have some on Austin's side and mine as well. So the greenhouse in the back is completely full of hellebore right
It is
now.
Hellebore season here. That's why we got 500 of them at a time, because they're popular right now. That's an evergreen perennial. David earlier was talking about plants that go dormant, and most all perennials go dormant to the dirt. All you see right now is just a pot full of dirt. With Hellebore, you don't see that. You see evergreen foliage that stays close to the ground. It's a great little ground cover that blooms this time of year, which I can't think of hardly any other plant that blooms this time of year. I went and did a little side job the other day, and I saw at a customer's house they had a bunch of these planted, and they were in full show. So excellent little ground cover plant. We've got plenty of them, plenty of colors. They're starting to come out with some really cool ones. So come on out and get some Hellebore if you need some little ground covers below, say a shade tree. These are more shade-loving plants. They do not really want a full sun environment. So morning sun's okay, but let's avoid that afternoon sun exposure. But an excellent little evergreen ground cover that blooms right now.
I'm helping a friend watch his house. They're out of town, and happened to be over there yesterday. And you walk around, and all of a sudden you see a flower in the middle of January or the end of January. It'll surprise you, folks. I mean, they're absolutely
Josh,
gorgeous.
exactly what do you do when you help somebody watch their house?
I'm watching their house, man,
You just walk around and go, okay, I'm watching. Yeah,
making sure
what
it's
is
there.
that?
He's looking.
Actually, I was moving the trash can for him. So I mean, that's it is. You got to be neighborly. You know what I mean?
a little brief comment about hellebores. There's nothing that can give a gardener more certain sign that spring is on the way when hellebores are in bloom. And as they've already shown you this morning, they're not just they used to be just a singular color. They were only white. Now there's just a whole rainbow of colors and varieties of textures and foliage. So there
double
certainly
blooms
is
too.
one. Yes. So check all those out, and we're glad to. I know that Joy and
Bridget
and company have it, and Bridget. Thank you. You know what it is about Bridget's name? I always want to call her something else, and I go, no. It's not whatever that other name is. Somehow Bridget always sticks on me. But anyway, Joy and Bridget do a great job down there, and you need to go check it out. And on a day like today, to be inside makes shopping a little more pleasant.
Sure
And speaking of which, we'll be open from 10 a.m. until 2 today. So check that out. Hey, let's talk for just a moment about how you get these things growing and how you keep them growing their very best. And that's by using Earth Mix garden products. We like to say success begins in the ground level. And certainly it does. When you're trying to prepare your soil to put these plants in the ground. Plants are not cheap. And if you're going to get good plants, you want them to have the very best growing environment in the soil. And you get that when you use Earth Mix garden products. Now, whether you're using Earth Mix landscape for your landscaping plants, not coincidentally, that's for that purpose. Whether you're planting perennials or trees or shrubs, Earth Mix landscape is a great choice. If you're looking at tropicals, which is Caroline is featured around the studio today, Proganics I is your clear choice. And the great thing about Proganics I, in addition to the fact that it is a very living soil. It has a lot of nutrition in there. It also has, with peat shortages. That's right. And peat is not a renewable resource.
Right.
Coconut coir, on the other hand, is, and it's readily available. So we bring that in. All Earth Mix products are devoid of peat moss. There's not a speck of peat moss in any of it. So, and that also, particularly in houseplants, Josh, is great for keeping those fungus gnats down because they're very problematic.
Gnats.
They are, they're problematic. So
Yes.
anyway, check out the full line of Earth Mix products over at earthmix.net. And while you're there, simply go up and click on the Find Earth Mix tab, and you'll see that in the top right corner. Click on that, and then a page will come up and show you all the pins of all the dealers all around Middle Tennessee, Kentucky, even up in Ohio and Indiana. Check those out at earthmix.net. And remember this, success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products. And we appreciate you giving us a moment to talk about that and help you to do the very best with your gardening efforts.
I'm a texture guy.
You are a texture guy?
I'm a texture guy. Yes.
I feel you.
Admittedly, I really love the feel of sustained coconut coir. Just running your hands through it. It's a very light, fluffy material.
Oh,
it
yeah.
brings joy to me.
Oh, my goodness.
And when you mix it in.
But it does. You mean not the person Joy down from the greenhouse?
Immediately Joy walks through the door like the
Tyler,
Kool-Aid man, or actually busts through the wall sometimes. Yeah, she's actually quite surprising.
Yes.
And the interesting thing about coconut coir, when it comes to us, and we have to have that shipped in, because it comes from palm trees, it comes from tropical regions. It is in very highly compressed bricks. So for the homeowner, it would be it would not be very usable because they had to be really soaked with water to make those bricks expand. And then we go through a process where we toss and tumble and shred that material again to get it back into a loose, friable form like you're talking about, Tyler. So it really does
what does one of those bricks
a
weigh?
great job.
That's
Pardon
a good
me?
question.
What would one of those bricks weigh? I've not seen that in the raw.
I'm going to say probably about 12 to 15 pounds, maybe.
Oh, my.
The moisture content, if it's as low as it should be. Probably it's maybe even more like 5 pounds, but it could gain a little weight just because it's so dry, and it's hydroscopic. And of course, because it is so moisture absorbent, it's one of the things that makes it a great substrate for soil. So,
well, I think I could
there's
still
that.
use the bricks for building a coconut castle.
There you go.
That's just my opinion.
You should do that.
Now this
I'll
time
give
of
it a
year,
shot.
Yeah.
now this time of year, you should be thinking about one particular earth mix product, because all these gardens are going to be starting to get tilled and turned, and people are going to start getting the old dirty leaves off the top of them. The compost product is called what again, David?
Supernatural.
Supernatural.
And it is indeed. It's
time.
really the key to what makes so many earth mix products great. Supernatural compost that we produce is not like other composts, where that generally speaking, whatever material that is organic in nature, at other really large composting facilities is broken down. Now, there's nothing wrong with that approach, but we really try to develop something that's of much higher quality and much more consistent. So Supernatural is made through a process where the exact same amount of the exact same inputs is put into the mix each time we do a batch of it. And also
It's like Colonel Sanders' recipe. It's a secret too.
Well,
though,
we,
yes.
we add endo and ectomycorrhiza to it. We also add humic acid to it. And because of the other high quality ingredients we use, it is naturally highly fertile and a very much a living compost. So when you add that to your garden, you're really going to give it a boost, and the results come in the fruit you produce every year. So check that out. Earth Mix Supernatural, coming soon to a garden near you.
And it has already appeared in my garden. I just topped my raised bed off with that, and I built a cold frame out of PVC that hinges up. So I'm warming up the soil with the fresh compost. I'm getting ready to start my lettuce and my cold crops.
It's about that time. Mm-hmm. It is about that time. Caroline, do we have other questions by chance?
Oh, we do. All right. Here's our, I believe, third question of the day. Do cloches work in our zone to protect tender plants over winter? Huh.
What was the word?
Cloches? I'm assuming those are like the frost hats, if I'm remembering correctly.
Could it be closures?
No. Well, that's not what they typed.
Cloths? What's
No.
that again?
Closure, I always thought of as a
Cloches. I
as
also
like
looked
a
it up, and
baseball
it is
pitcher
like
that comes in for like about an inning.
It makes $90 million.
I did Google it to make sure
Okay.
I was thinking of the right thing. And it is like a little frost protector, like hat looking thing that you put over plants. I have seen them here before.
Oh, yeah,
and I think we have them for sale.
Is it
So-
cloture, like enclosure cloture?
No.
No, I'll spell it for you. How about
Okay.
that?
That's a
this
Robert's Rules of Order. We have to have the cloture
Josh,
on this, huh?
are you
Okay, shut up,
listening?
Josh. Shut up,
Josh, hush.
Yes,
I'm going to
shut
write
up.
that down in my time right now.
Shut up, David. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Quiet on the air.
Okay.
And all right, thank you. Cloches.
Oh, wow. Huh. It's like cloche.
Yeah, you guys thought I couldn't read, didn't you? Proved
No.
you wrong. I'm just kidding.
All right, read the whole question again.
No, I'm
Sorry.
just a dumb man.
Do cloches work in our zone to protect tender plants over winter? Now, I could be saying it wrong, but
That's how you spell it. Okay.
that's how you spell it. Yes.
All right. I mean, yeah, they will certainly work. I think that they work best whenever you have plants that are already, leafing out in the early spring, and then we get like a late frost or a late freeze whenever the plants are already kind of juiced up and tender. Over the dead of the winter time, I don't really know that they're useful or not. I mean, our plants are going to have to get through this cold, and we try to plant shrubs and trees that are hardy enough to live through our winters,
Right.
which almost all of them are. So if we do need to protect plants, it's almost always, like I said, in that early spring. A lot of times it's late March. A lot of times it can even be late April where we live. So those are the times to use things like that whenever you need to protect the tender stuff. But through the winter with our shrubs and trees, for the most part, they're going to have to get through, and they might suffer a little bit of damage that you can prune out later. But, yeah, using those whenever needed. Just keep an eye on the weather, late March to late April.
Very
Is that
good.
from Miriam?
It is.
Miriam's
Oh.
with us every week.
Every
We
Thank you,
love
Miriam.
Yes.
Always giving us questions. We really appreciate it.
Miriam also
is
just
the
regularly
top questioner.
she regularly interacts with the Bates Instagram account too. So
I know she does. She's
appreciate seeing you over there too.
Gold star, Miriam. All right, do we want one more question?
Smiley faces too.
Smiley faces as well. All right. Cat pushed my pothos off the shelf. I repotted it the next day, but still looks sad. Advice.
Get rid of the cat.
That cat.
Don't you dare. And I know you didn't. Don't listen to Josh. We actually have some pothos over in front of you guys on the other side of the studio. If you see kind of the lime green plant that looks viney, that's the neon pothos in front of you. Josh is pointing her out. So that's the plant we're talking about. Now, when it fell off the shelf, it probably got some damage.
There's one over here too.
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 right in front of you guys.
Okay.
So those leaves might have been damaged, the stems, which, you know, right when it falls, you might not notice it, but that damage will cause the leaf to wilt. So I would just remove anything that's damaged. Now, when you repot plants, you always want to thoroughly water. So if you didn't water, you want to go ahead and water. And sometimes they take a little while to acclimate basically to their new home. So they might be a little wilted. With a pothos, it should only be a matter of a couple days. So if it's been longer than
There's
that,
no more forgiving plant. I mean, if you're going to not get a plant knocked off, that's the one you want to get knocked off, because while it might get, you know, a small branch or something broken off of it, prune that off, set it back up, and, you know, it quickly recovers. They don't. The only thing that's going to get those is cold weather. Really, a simple fall from any height will not kill it.
right? Yeah, cold weather will take it out like that. A fall, not so much.
Yeah.
But like David said, those are the most forgiving plants. So it could be a matter of watering or just pruning off all the damaged.
Well, they look like it would be a growing machine.
Oh, they are.
Yeah. So
They will
but
take over your house very
now,
quickly.
and a stern talking to at least to Kitty. Okay. I mean, we're gonna have to.
As though that will do any good.
That's true.
But then tell the cat that we said hi. I might be the only one that likes cats. Although I
I-
know Tyler over there loves cats as well.
Hold
Yeah.
on.
I've got a beloved 6-toed cat.
Do you? I used to have a 6-toed cat. Oh.
Now, is
like
that a type of cat, or is that just a?
That's
a
an Ernest
quirk of
Hemingway
nature?
cat.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a trait. It's a trait called polydactylism.
Polydactyl.
Yep, it's
I was going to say that polydactyl.
Yeah, Polly.
I think I went to school with a girl named Polydactyl.
Oh, is that so?
Wow.
No, that's not true.
I,
It just sounded like a name.
Actually, it would have been pterodactyl when you went to school, right?
Oh, not that long ago.
Oh, no.
Okay, you're listening to the At Home Show. Hopefully, you're watching also.
Yes.
We're here talking about what you want to talk about.
uh-oh. David got so excited.
I think he
froze.
actually he might have choked on his coffee.
There he
or
is.
something.
It's a forced pause. And
That was impressive,
forgive me
David.
yeah. And let's talk about
Pat you
Bates
on the
Nursery and
back.
Garden Center
Yep.
for a moment.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. I get a little spacey at times. Apparently, let's talk about Bates Nursery and Garden Center. This time of year, we are open on Saturdays,
Yes.
10 until
That's right.
2. So we got a short day, but we try to be here during the nicest part of the day. And that will certainly be the case today. Come on out and see us. It doesn't matter if you're looking for tropicals like we've got all over the studio today, and Caroline and the others in the greenhouse area do such a wonderful job of getting those in and taking care of them. You know, we put out some beneficial lady beetles here a couple of weeks ago that really are doing a nice job of keeping everything clean without using chemicals. So that's a great thing. And also, if you're looking to get some things out in the garden, we do have an incredible selection of hellebores that have come in. So check all those out. And of course, if you're planting either tropicals that you're going to step up to a larger containers, which I have it on pretty good source. We have containers for every description. You got to come check those out. And when you're going to be transplanting those, you're going to use Proganics I to get the very best results for your indoor plants that you're going to be stepping up. And of course, you can use Earth Mix Landscape for all of your hellebores you might purchase, or any other of the trees and shrubs we have. By the way, we have all those on our indoor storage facility. So you can come in and shop in a comparatively mild environment. It won't be as chilly as it is outdoors. Fortunately, the temperatures are warming up quickly, and things are going to be a nice day today, even though it's going to be a little brisk starting out. So come on out and see us at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, where we're conveniently located 1 mile north of Briley Parkway at exit 19 on Whites Creek Pike. That's just minutes from Rivergate, Opry Mills, Nashville West, downtown Nashville. And this, I promise you, it is worth the drive no matter where you're coming from. Check out our website, batesnursery.com, where, by the way, everything that we sell can be purchased online, and it's searchable 24/7, 365. You can either set that up for a curbside pickup, or you can set it up to be delivered directly to your home. You don't even have to make the trip out. Maybe you've got some things that are keeping you from getting out. That is the solution to that, so you can get out and work in the garden. Bates Nursery Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932. We're very proud to have our 90th year of business here at Bates Nursery. So come on out and see us, and we appreciate you tuning in today and seeing what we have in store here at Bates Nursery.
Yeah, and folks, and I want to remind you, I come out here every week, so I know what's going on. The fact that you drive up, if you don't come by the nursery every once in a while, you notice in the summertime and in the spring and in the fall, it looks like a jungle. At this time of the year, this time of year, they're protecting the plants. So, I mean, they've got caution tape. I don't know, it was a crime scene almost out there, but it's all just
utility work going on in the parking lot, and the great folks over at Nashville Electric Service, which there is a planned widening of Whites Creek Pike at some point in the future, and they being the ever vigilant folks, that's kind of the way it looks right now.
It's a little premature there, but I made a map of our winter greenhouse that they're talking about.
Yeah, and then you've got there are other display areas, again, all the indoor plants. And if you come down this way, there's all kinds of stuff around. So you got to go out there and you got to get inside to see what's going on. So,
yes, we do have a great selection of things. We just can't keep it outside this time of year. It needs a little bit of protection, but also you'll see that there's some big silver poles on a trailer, and they're getting ready to put those up next week. And we appreciate them coming in and doing that while it's winter and not springtime. So it would have been really troublesome if they tried to come in and do that while we're in the busy part of the spring. So thank you to NES and all the great folks over there for figuring out a way to get that done where that it's a minimal inconvenience to everybody.
And Austin's out there in the back where the trees are, the big B&Bs and some of the big trees out there. You need to come out there and take a walk out there too, because you can see what they look like in the winter. And I saw some red tips back there, I think so. And I mean, just absolutely gorgeous.
Let's take a walk back right now to House 1.
House 1. Here we
go.
Hey, looky there. Gosh, you walk really high. Man.
You have no idea.
That's Superman.
He's quick
flying
too.
Through there.
That's right. So in here, everything from the lot ends up inside this warehouse that aren't trees or perennials.
And that's where you had marked winter greenhouse on the other image. But look at all that stuff. It's all on racks, and it's all easy to get to. And that really makes for a great opportunity for Tyler and all the other great sales associates to be able to walk you around in there. And since we have completely redone that last year, the lighting is really great in there now. It was awful for the previous years. It just takes a while to get everything done. We've been fortunate to be in business for 90 years, but the downside to that is that everything starts aging, including the owner. So we have to keep working trying to maintain the facilities, and the owner's doing the best he can with the aging process. So,
well, and the fact that they're in that greenhouse doesn't mean that they can't go to your house and go into the ground, right? I mean, that's probably a great time to be planting.
That's the best point.
So they're protecting it.
Austin, talk about that for a minute. Why is it okay? Why can we not have them outside, but yet you're talking about selling people shrubs and they're going to take them home, but putting them in the ground is what the difference actually is.
That's the
correct.
biggest difference, yeah. Being above the ground versus below the ground. So plants in pots tend to freeze, and which isn't necessarily the worst thing on earth. I mean, most of these plants, honestly, that we protect would actually probably be fine if we left them outside. We're just protecting them just because that's what we want to do. We want to make sure they're the best quality in the springtime. But especially say deciduous plants that don't have any leaves right now, excellent time to plant those. Go ahead and you can take them right from our store and get them home and put them right in the ground. Water them deeply right after you plant them, and then pretty much let them be until spring and watch them leaf out. And it's especially for like say spring flowering plants, it's just nice to go ahead and get them in. That way you can enjoy the show at your house rather than us seeing the show here at our store. So definitely a good time to be planting. If it's a little cold this morning, we recommend not necessarily planting when the ground is frozen. I'm not sure the ground is actually frozen right now, but the top couple inches are probably pretty hard, so it's not going to be very fun digging. But these temperatures are going to get up a little bit, like we talked
like
about
Tuesday.
earlier.
Yeah,
Tuesday. You're talking 62 degrees. I mean, that's Tennessee for you. So it's still an excellent time to be planting. Man, we've got your stuff. Tyler just did his drone shot through the whole thing. We've got a whole house 3 rows up. Both sides of the green, very large greenhouse. So we still have plants. It just doesn't look like it. So we can show you.
And if you can look over Tyler's head there, you see that it's up to above 20 degrees now. So we've already come up 8 degrees since we've gone on the air, and we will get to see some improving conditions throughout the day, and we're going to have abundant sunshine. So that makes for encouraging gardening conditions. Yes. So I invite you to come out and see us. And like Tyler was said, we keep these plants, even though they're landscape plants, we keep them inside, and it's about keeping the soil temperature protected enough. The soil temperature, 17 degrees is where you start getting really major temperature. So it can be confusing for folks because you're thinking, well, gosh, is not the soil frozen? Well, yes, 32 degrees is where water freezes, but that's not where you get root damage. It's like 17 degrees on most woody ornamentals. So we keep those inside to ensure that if we have cold temperatures like we did last night, we're able to keep those temperatures up where that the soil temperature does not go below a temperature. Matter of fact, my greenhouse monitor I looked at this morning, it was 22 degrees was the lowest air temperature. Right. That is not the soil temperature. There's probably at least a 10-degree differential between those two. So
folks that are listening and seeing things on the weather, on a lot of the weather channels where they're talking about people over irrigating down in Florida and running smudge pots and that kind of thing, that's not applicable here. But I mean, if you've got a strawberry field, they do different things. They let the water run on them all night long, but they're not going to worry about ever getting down to a 32-degree soil temperature, I would think, down there, would they?
No. It just can't. It might air temperature, but it cannot get soil temperature that cold down there. And as we've been talking here for the last minute, we've gone up 0.4 of a degree. So as you can see, the temperature's coming on now. There's another one right there.
Come on, 21.
21.
Come on, we're working on it. Yeah. So while people are coming out today, Austin and Caroline, what are some of the other things we've talked about? Tropicals, of course, we've talked about hellebores. What are some of the other things that people should take interest in note of that we have for them here at Bates Nursery?
What we need to talk about the most is pottery.
Oh, yeah.
We have got more ceramic pots than any other place in all of Tennessee, I would bet. Not even joking.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Definitely Nashville.
Nashville. We have the best selection you've ever seen. And talking about getting stuff done, we got it done. So we had 22 pallets arrive that were sitting here waiting.
Frozen last week. No, last week they were frozen.
It was cold.
They were.
And but on top of that 22, how many did we get?
38, almost a full semi-load came right after that. So you're talking, I'm not great at math, but that's close to 50 pallets of pottery.
It's more than 10. We know that.
It's more than
60.
10.
And we have got every single pallet broken down checked in, priced, and set exactly where it's going to go, where you can shop it. Everything is out and done. We finished it yesterday. Me and Caroline are the main people that do it, but we've had help all around with people that want to give a hand. But I'm not gonna lie, we got good at it.
Let's give a hand
We
to
have
them
gotten
right
good.
now.
Yes, clap for us.
There's a hand.
It's a very hard job, and
Now,
we've
It's
gotten
hard
good
and
at
it's
it.
very cold out.
Have
there.
you got red ones?
We got red.
Have you got white ones?
We
Yes.
got
We
white.
got
You
white
got blue ones.
blue
We
out
got
the
blue out
all
the wazoo.
day.
Okay.
We
you
have all the
got
colors.
metallic?
We
Yep.
got metallic.
We
We
got
got some that look
Metallica.
like concrete, some that are sleek, some that are fat, some that are small. We've got every single bit of pottery.
Rectangular.
Rectangular,
Yep.
of course. Those are becoming more popular, especially for businesses.
We got the acid
And,
bubbled etched
Yeah,
looking.
that look like blue jeans. We have those.
Right.
Huh?
Now,
Two-tone,
and
three-tone.
If you're thinking about outdoor planters, you might not be thinking about that, but if you're using deciduous plants or conifers,
Yeah, buddy.
you could go ahead and get those planted up. Use Proganics O. That's an outdoor professional organic growing medium that we sell at Earth Mix Products. Do a great job on whatever. You can get those planted today and not have to worry about anything but getting it in there and getting it watered.
That's right. And you can even come out and pick out your pots for the early, if you're not ready to, say you're a person a lot like me that likes to do mixed containers with annuals every year.
Yep.
You can go ahead and get your pots picked out when you see our best selection you're going to find right now. Go ahead and get them picked out, set them on your porch, and then wait till spring annuals come in, and then we're going to fill those things up.
And Valentine's Day is coming too, folks.
Sure is. That's a good gift
Oh.
idea. Good gift idea.
It's going to be an extravaganza out here.
Ooh, yes, it is.
That's
There
for sure.
is a lot.
It really
so
is a sight to see. I'm not even
Lollapalooza?
joking.
Yeah, okay.
We
and
had
it's
Joy.
beautifully displayed.
It really is. Joy built us 8 new racks. And she did great with that. So they're 3-tiered racks. So we had to get 8 more of those. Our pottery game just keeps going up. So, like I said, if you want the best selection you're going to find and displayed beautifully,
Yes, it is.
come on out.
We'll get a video for
it-
next week.
It keeps Caroline and Austin having to go to aerobics class. They get a workout here at work.
That's
all
true.
you can do is go home and crash because it will
exactly.
absolutely. It's a very physical and and it takes quite a bit of care, particularly when you're handling those large containers. A lot of those really should not be handled by a single individual. Although I catch people doing that from time to time.
Oh, us no.
Never.
No, don't deny.
Now
it.
show
I know
Caroline's
it's,
hands as well. Show her hands. Okay. Now she manages to, show 'em. Come on, show them. She manages to keep her fingernails done.
I do.
With all that, I would
you
be
see?
broke. Things would be broken on me.
Okay, to be fair, my nails normally do not look like this. This is a special occasion that they.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
No, I'm not doing pottery with nails that look like this. Underneath these nails, they look pretty sad. So.
Ouch.
It's actually a challenge for her to get them off. Like while she's doing it,
Yeah.
she loves breaking the nails off.
Popping them off on the pottery. Mhm. Exactly.
Okay. Alrighty then.
All right, Josh, you're the one that brought that up, though.
I did. That's okay. But it is amazing, folks. You need to come see the selection. And you just take one home. I mean, take 2 home. Take a pallet home. They'll load them up for you, too.
I've just never seen so many pot styles and colors and combinations that I like a lot before.
Well, what we'll hope to do, I know you, because they were putting it all together this week, Tyler, maybe you can get some shots of the pottery next week.
I will
and
get
we
some
can
pot
feed-
shots.
Yeah.
Pot shots, yes. Get some pot shots, and we'll put those out there to be able to appreciate just how many it may sound to everyone like, oh yeah, everybody says they've got a lot. We really have a lot. I mean,
Yes.
a lot. So
And I really like
we
the
appreciate you coming out and taking.
No, I like the planter style ones that we have too, which I feel like we've been short on the past, couple of years. The new ones that we have the fiber resin ones that are really sleek and modern, and like that would be great for the the apartment balcony gardener who just is looking for something to put a few things in. I think it's great.
And those resin type containers are great, particularly where it's a larger container and it simply would be too difficult to move around and too easy to break otherwise if it was a any kind of a clay type material or other material like that. They're just too much weight, particularly once you get soil
The dirt in
them.
them, yeah. Mhm.
So you can have all kinds of things in all kinds of places. There's probably a container for every opportunity here at Bates Nursery. So come check that out. Caroline, did by chance we have more questions? I know we've covered several today.
We do have one more question.
Okay.
When specifically can I start pruning trees and shrubs that bloom on new wood?
David?
They bloom on new wood.
Okay, well, yeah, this is, and I'm gonna let Tyler. I mean, I'm not Tyler, but Austin finish this question. But this is
I'll do
I
my
can
best.
let Tyler. But this is one of those that for years I had a resentment on 440 every time I drove down because they had flowering quince back in the day. Now this has been 25 years ago. They had flowering quince and forsythia growing down the median, and it would have been beautiful, except they came through in February of every year and cut them to the ground, which is just before they flowered.
Yep.
And it really made me mad every time I saw it.
That would have been the Bill Boner era, right?
I can't put that on any specific one. I think it had more to do with the department that was responsible for taking care of it. Anyway, all that said, if it blooms in the early spring, you don't prune it until after it blooms.
Right.
Actually, that applies to almost everything. If you're going to prune it, wait until after it flowers, and then it's a good time. So talk about that, Austin.
Yes, you're right. So the big three being forsythia, quince, and azaleas. Those are the three biggest ones that are our beautiful spring bloomers. Definitely don't bloom or prune those over the wintertime. We wait till they finish blooming, and then we prune them up. They're vigorous plants. So after they bloom, a prune is just fine. Now with later blooming plants, say hydrangeas that bloom on new wood, say like limelight, little lime, bobo, any of those panicle style hydrangeas, you can get those pruned up in the wintertime and shorten them. Even Annabelle types of hydrangeas, you can prune those over the wintertime and they will still bloom in the summer when they're supposed to. But that's your general rule of thumb. The earlier the plant blooms in the spring, wait until it finishes blooming. Plants that bloom later in the summer or the fall, we can go ahead and get those pruned up over the wintertime and get them back in check, and you'll have good success. So,
and particularly things like flowering quince and forsythia, it's really important to keep in mind of how those buds set and when they set. So if after they have flowered and then the new foliage is coming out, if you cut them back as severely as you like at that point, then all of the new growth that follows after that, and it will probably be 3 foot or longer limbs that will grow out afterwards, they will bloom from one end to the other, all of that new growth. But don't cut them again. Cut them just that one time, and you'll have the maximum show. If you try to grow forsythia or quince as a hedge, and you can, it greatly reduces the amount of flowers you're going to have on them. It's going to be, it really doesn't make the best use of the floral show that you can get from those.
Yep. It's kind of funny, I noticed yesterday we've got a flowering quince in a little 1 gallon pot in the greenhouse.
Oh,
that I noticed.
That's mine.
I know, but I saw it's quince around town is not even thinking about blooming yet. I mean, it's kind of thinking about it. It's crossing its mind.
Yeah.
But that flowering quince inside the greenhouse, since it's been in warm temperatures, it's in full bloom right now. It's beautiful.
So happy. Ben actually brought it back. He chose it for me because I wanted to buy one.
Yeah.
So thank you, Ben.
Well, it doesn't take much warm weather to get those encouraged, and like you said, they're contemplating it, and likely within the next couple of weeks, depending on what the weather does, and that's the big question mark. We never know exactly what's going to happen when, but as temperatures begin to get out of this range where we're having overnight lows in the 20s and get more into the mid to upper 30s for overnight lows, then the plants, a lot of people think, and it does have to do with the daytime temperature, but it has really likely more to do with the nighttime low temperature. Once those lows get high enough to stop shutting the plant down, the growth will start coming on and the flowers will follow quickly, and it will happen soon.
Would the day length have to do anything to do with it? I know the day's always 24 hours, but the sunlight length?
Well, day length makes it get warmer
Yeah,
the
it
longer
stays
we
warmer
have
longer,
sunlight. So
So it definitely has an effect, yeah.
Okay.
But I guess the next one up, what's it going to be? Witch hazel. That'll be blooming soon. It's thinking about
those
it.
will be the next thing up. And of course, Josh has a witch hazel Diane at his house because we don't have a Diane, which is he got it in his wife's honor, and she's certainly deserving of that, and he can call it.
She loves to cut that in the fall. We have a moratorium. We had a moratorium in place after about 2. It's just no. So I take care of that one. We'll probably cut her back about April. So and see what's going on.
Yeah,
they getting kind of butted up, Josh?
Hey, David Bates, Corey Smith, the yard boy. He says that you are his favorite pot dealer.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we do deal in some containers of a variety of sizes. So if you choose to refer to it as being a pot dealer, well,
you can sell it. You can buy it by the pound. You can buy it by the gram. You can buy your pots whatever way you want to buy your pots, right?
And there's so many different strains of pots.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and you know what, Josh?
You're indicative of something?
One thing that comes to mind, speaking of going to pot, next Saturday we will have celebrated our next anniversary. And Josh, no one, and I mean no one, would have guessed that these many years later we would still be broadcasting together. And
the first February of 1998. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So it's been a pretty amazing run for a couple of guys who are not broadcast professionals from the get-go. We kind of developed our chops, such as they are, over the years. So we appreciate people being with us over the years. Well, I mean, perhaps you had some broadcast education, but all I ever had was just
it's not MTSU's fault. I can promise you that. So, I mean, but anyway,
Before you two get too sappy, we have a live question that just came in.
And a live question?
That's right.
Well, I can't quit him. Come on. I mean, it's all good.
No, of course not.
It's still too cold a weather to be sappy.
Yeah, that sap's not going to run right now.
Dun-dun-dun.
When is the best time to remove a 6-foot azalea?
3:30. Yeah.
There it is.
There it is.
A 6-foot azalea you can jerk out of the ground anytime you want to.
Yep.
Now, I don't know why. A 6-foot azalea is pretty impressive.
Transplanting or
You could ask him to specify.
Now, one of the things that's important to know about if you were actually going to try to transplant it and relocate it is that azaleas have a very fine, fibrous, and shallow root system. So if it's 6 feet tall, you're going to have to probably dig a root ball that's 4 feet wide, but maybe only about, 18 inches at most, maybe only 15 inches deep. It doesn't have to be very much. It's a very shallow root system, but it's very wide and fibrous. Always a good idea when you're getting ready to transplant anything is to go dig the hole and prepare the soil where you're going to transplant it to first. And then when you get the plant dug out of the ground, you take it to where you're going with it and you minimize the amount of time that it's out of the ground. And of course, as Austin's mentioned a couple of times, as have I, when you get something back in the ground, whether it's coming out of a container or you're transplanting it from one spot in your yard to another, water it. And I mean, soak it thoroughly. That's important from a hydration standpoint, but more importantly, to get those air pockets settled out of it so that the plant maintains an even amount of moisture to the soil. We're going to have rains coming in this week, which will certainly help, but it's a good time to be getting those things done.
It sounds like they just want to remove it. And what was the old saying? You plant a shrub and you tear out a bush. Is that how it was used to say it? Sounds like they just want it gone, man.
If you want it gone,
the
just take it.
vernacular you use is of your own choice. If you want to call any of them, we have pretty much, they could call these tropical bushes right there in front of us, Josh. I guess depending on where you live, that's what they are.
Well, we haven't been able to name them yet. So, do whatever you want to with your bush.
Yeah, well, you will get around to it if they come to your house. You'll have names for every one of them.
Yeah, I'm going to go pick out some hellebores.
I'm confident.
I'm going to go pick out a couple, 3 hellebores. I'll have to come up with some great names for those.
Oh, we got another last minute question.
Okay.
What new soil would you recommend for relocation? These are 30 years old, 2 of them, so they are transplanted.
Transplanted, okay.
Well, landscape is certainly what you want to use when you're
Right.
mixing in to amend the soil, and
That
you're
would
gonna
be
get the
earth
very
mix
best
landscape.
results.
Right. Now, you
Right.
want to mound them up a
Earth
bit
mix
too, wouldn't you,
landscape,
Austin?
You can plant them high. Don't don't ever plant azaleas deep. I mean, don't plant anything deep. That's not good practice to bury stems. But specifically azaleas, keep them up a little bit. A couple 2 inches above the soil level. Mix in our Earth Mix landscape product with your native soil. Press in very firmly, and do it quickly, as quick as you can. Like I said, I'll go ahead and have your hole dug, have your watering hose ready. It's not just a watering can, people. You're gonna need that hose to get out there. It needs a lot more water than you think. So press in firmly after you're done planting. Water deeply, and it should live.
Please send us some pictures of this project too. I mean, that would be
Yeah, that'd be good.
gorgeous.
Share them with the At Home Show
Yeah.
Facebook or
Yep.
wherever you're watching
And with
from.
that, guys, we're out of time. There's an hour in the books right there. Thanks everyone for tuning in today.
Yeah, don't be worried about watching the Titans tomorrow because they're not playing anymore. But I'm still a little bitter.
Womp, womp.
But get your projects done. Get everything moving. They got to lose it.
You were never
way.
watching football again.
Ever.
After the game
Never.
last week.
No, ever. I'm done. Folks, for everybody here at the Green Room Studio, we
We're done.
appreciate you being here. Be safe out there so you can join us next Saturday morning alive from the
right.
Green Room Studios because that'll
24
actually
years. 24 years.
we might cry.
Yeah.
Nah.
Might.
Doubt. All righty, folks. Thank you for being here. We'll see you right here from the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery and Garden Center next Saturday morning.